My name is Matt Stokes.
And I'm Laci Roth.
This is a movie podcast where we get together with people we love, the married people, the people we married.
So it's usually just you and me.
Just us. Remember our grand plans to have so many guests? We're listing all the married couples and romantic couples we know, and we're like...
There wasn't a lot of diversity, and can we also blame it on COVID?
Yeah, COVID.
That's really slowed it down.
Hurricanes,
and we refused to do Zoom appearances. I've asked, and you said you don't like it. You said too many podcasts do Zoom interviews.
There have been a handful of podcasts that I listen to who are doing it by Zoom, and it's just like, it's crazy how much quality is lost, not in the audio, but in the interaction between the hosts. And when quarantine started and we had, decided, we were wondering whether we should start the podcast again, a big thing I thought we had was we're in the same house. We can do a podcast in the same room, and every other podcast people listen to is going to be people on Zoom, We really have the edge. What an edge. So
we've made use of it too by quitting for months at a time and having spotty service when we are. Okay.
No, it's always good when we do it.
It is always good.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's so good.
We're two tired people, and when you're tired, you don't want to watch a piece of shit. In fact, you don't want to watch a movie at all. You want a reliable series to binge so that you don't have to fight with your partner when you sit on the sofa. What do you want to watch? What the fuck am I supposed to know what we're supposed to watch?
It's my role in our relationship to say, so what are we watching?
Yeah.
And then it's your role to get all kerfuffled about it. But it's not really fair because you would agree you are the curator. Ever since I met you, you've been telling me what I should watch, and then you plan it out. And then you also tell us what movies we're going to go see. And you're really good at it. So
you're making it sound a lot more like paternalistic than it actually is.
You're just good at picking these things. They're not always what I want to see, but I'm never upset that I saw it. Well, sometimes.
Wait a minute.
You're in charge of this. Whenever we go out, I'm in charge of what we wear. If it's a special occasion, right? I'll pick out the shirt and the shoes for you.
Yeah.
You let me do that.
But I've deferred to you. I've deferred my authority on that and said, it doesn't bother me. I used to be like, my wife's not going to pick out my clothes. I'm my own man.
It's cool that you had to explain it because that makes it sound like you're really sincere about that. But it's interesting.
That's how I used to be. But now.
It's interesting that you didn't hear my agency in what I was saying because that's how I mean it too. You're better at this.
Yeah, I was building up to that, but you got in my way.
Because I was the one talking and then you took over.
I'm just elaborating. But
I was going to.
Well, okay.
Elaborate.
I used to really chafe at the idea that you would pick out my clothes.
Uh-huh.
You always said, let me pick out your clothes. Let me do your hair.
Never.
You said it every day. And
no,
I said,
I did
don't
not.
Do that. I'm me. I am me, okay?
Can you make it clear that I may have hinted once or twice and you finally just said, do it. But that was after you had turned a corner in your self-esteem. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I did not nag you to do that.
No, but no. Okay, yes, listener, Laci did not nag me about wanting to. I was kidding with the everyday thing.
Okay.
But Laci, allegedly has good fashion sense, and so eventually I said I'll just let her pick out what she wants me to wear, and she can do my hair however dumb, douchey, preppy way that she wants.
I don't do douche prep. Your hair only does one thing well, and I do it. Smush it.
It makes douche prep. It always looks good.
Oh my God.
But
douche prep make the hair don't make the douche prep.
Well, I just always feel like I'm like on a Supercuts poster.
How fucking
picture that you'd
dare
see in the Supercuts.
The problem was your Supercuts haircut. You'd always look back looking like fucking Floyd from Dumb and Dumber with your straight across bangs, like they used a bowl to make it happen.
That's another thing.
So I took over your haircut.
Well,
I learned how to cut hair for you.
You're the only person whose opinion I care about when it comes to my appearance.
You say that.
I say that, and it's true.
Oh.
At least of like my hair, I don't give a shit if I have no desire for my hair to be anything other than something that you would like. So great. Clothes, same thing. Don't care that much. So you take over clothes. You take over hair. You take over
kind of shoes. You're. That's where I get the most blockage from you. Very particular about your shoes.
I'm not particular.
You are.
What I am is I don't want diversity in my shoes. I just want to wear my shoes.
That's particular.
Isn't that particular?
Rigid in the shoes. There's so much you can do with the shoes.
Yeah, I know. Okay. So, but you know how there are people like me and you, honestly, who are like eating, just want to eat what I like, what I know I like. And then there are people who are like, if some people eat to live, I live to eat.
Oh my God, you're hitting on
And why would you want to, every meal is an opportunity to do something great and crazy and outrageous and really treat yourself.
Right. You're half right. You're mixing things with things we do care about, like treating ourselves and making sure it's great, with the piece that you're actually hitting on, which are people who claim to be adventurous eaters and who like variety in their food. I'm always thinking, why? You are rolling the dice every time, and you can't make those calories come back out your body, and you've wasted on something you were experimenting with. So I do agree.
Yeah.
I'm not experimental with my food.
Right. Those people would say, yeah, if you just eat the same thing all the time, that's crazy. You're depriving yourself. You're like, yeah, sometimes you're not going to like it, but that's the point. That's just going to make the thing that you love and discover that's new all the better.
And I don't think that's living to eat. Eating to live. I don't think that's...
that expression is dumb.
It's dumb, but I'm just letting you know it describes... It's how New Orleans and Louisiana describe themselves, that we live to eat. And that's just like the 5 New Orleans food groups, though. It doesn't mean diversity in food.
Here's the thing about NOLA. It's what I call it, is NOLA, the Big Easy. Here in the Crescent City, we love to eat. You know, other people don't.
I don't know. We are known for it. Or we think we are.
Everywhere's known for eating. I mean...
No, they don't eat those
Okay, not
places.
everywhere. But it's not like New Orleans is the only food city. But we're
so
fucking proud of ourselves.
Oh my... Well, because we're one of the most obese states. So it's like, if you can own it through... Yeah, that's because our food's so good, y'all. It's like, no, I mean, the food's good, but everything's good deep fried, motherfucker. Like, it's no secret why our food is good. There's grease and deep frying in the grease.
Yeah, and spices.
But lots of places have spices.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but our stuff is so heavily spiced that we can't travel and eat without being like, where's the fire?
We're on a great track. We're really following a good outline here, and it's fine. This is a lazy river. So, what was my point? Okay, so movies.
You don't like to get adventurous with shoes, but what was it before that?
Okay, shoes. I am with shoes as a person who doesn't want to eat.
The metaphor.
It's like, to me, I have to make decisions in my life, and I don't want to have to make some other decisions. And it's like, shoes, don't want to have to think about those.
And you don't. But when I ask you to wear a particular shoe for one particular reason, for one event, you do then put your foot down. Pun intended.
That's not true. I have my dress shoes. I wear those. I have my medium shoes. That's one pair of shoes.
That's not what I asked you to do. I wanted you to get a little diverse in your tennis shoes, and you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, see, that sounds weird to me. It's like just on a day-to-day basis, I need to alternate.
No, just wear a different color tennis shoe for the next 6 months than you've been wearing this last 6 months.
At one point, you suggested that I get 2 different color tennis shoes, 2 different pairs of tennis shoes, so that I could have some range in my day-to-day.
No, I fucking didn't.
Yes, you did.
I said you could have, not your day-to-day, you could have a nice pair and you could have a day-to-day pair. That's not range.
That is not what you said.
You're full of shit.
No, you absolutely
don't aggravate me, please.
Impossible.
Continue. Yeah, that's right. Then you get to do whatever you want and you're never the wrong one. Because it's impossible not to aggravate me.
I do wrong things in life all the time.
Wrong isn't what gets people aggravated all the time. You're aggravating me.
You're always aggravated when we record. You hate our podcast.
I don't hate our podcast.
You do hate the podcast.
I don't hate our podcast. You quit telling me I hate recording it. I don't hate it. I like that we do. God damn it, we have this conversation every fucking time.
Yeah, and so you might hear our child on the baby monitor. He wanted to go to sleep. He's not actually asleep. He's just hanging in his room and
he hears his father shouting, so he's disturbed.
He's not okay. Yes, I'm traumatizing him. So
I just said he's disturbed.
Shoes.
Traumatizing.
Let's work our way back up the Inception dream levels.
Quit talking over me. All right, go ahead.
Let's work our way back up the levels. So, shoes, movies. You sit down. It's nighttime. You're tired. You're cranky. You just want to.
I am not.
You just want to drink some wine and just veg out
Ew,
and
don't
watch something.
say that word.
I would like to watch a movie every
Say
night,
vegetable
but I
out.
have to. You want a vegetable out, and I'd like to watch a movie every night, but that involves persuasion. I have to make my case. I have to be like, well, here's the Rotten Tomatoes, and here's what this person said, and here's these getting a lot of buzz.
And you do all that work for a 2-hour payoff, and then it's over, and you have to start over again.
Do it again, yes.
And a 2-hour interval time is tricky. It depends on when you started, but you usually end up at the end of the night with a chunk of time where you can't do anything with it but go to bed. Like, well, now we've got 20 minutes. What the fuck do we do with 20 minutes? Let's just go to bed.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone. I'm very regimented about the time I go to bed. Yeah. I just realized it doesn't apply to you, but you allow it. You allow my regimented bedtime.
Your regimens affect me. I go along with them. You eat dinner at 4:37, and so I do too. You make your lunch at 9:45.
No, I pushed it back to 10:45 on the lunch.
It's all creeped up just because I've just absorbed.
I've creeped it back, and I never make dinner before 5, like you told me. I make it at 5:01, and it's ready by 5:30. That's gourmet, baby.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So
we're doing a podcast.
We're doing a podcast.
We've decided to do one.
Even though Laci.
Here's the premise of this PC podcast for the layman. How it started off and how it sort of still is that one day I said a quote from Dirty Dancing, and Matt said, "What the fuck?" And I said, "Oh my God, what the fuck you? How could you not have seen this classic?" And that is when we discovered that there are certain movies that we watched so obsessively and memorized and took into our souls.
You left out a key detail.
Oh, okay, I don't want to.
I said to you, I think I should watch Dirty Dancing because it's so important to you. And you sat me down and you were really serious. And you're like, it's a load-bearing beam.
And you're like, oh, what now?
And I was like, wait a minute, say that again.
And I said, walk with me on this metaphor. The problem is, if you discover that this beam, it's got termites, we can't remove it. It's structural to the fucking house.
She didn't want to watch it with me and me be like, this is stupid.
I didn't want to have to own why it was so important to me. Anyway, we discovered that these movies, they're so painful to rewatch as an adult when there's been some time, because even yourself can get a little bit bummed out at your old self for liking them so very much. But sometimes these movies are good, and those are nice times. Anyway, each weekish, we alternate, each picking a movie the other one has not seen that we would consider important to us in that way. As you can imagine, okay, our son is so loud right now. We go, echo wow. Anyway, as you can imagine, one runs out of movies. So we're a little loosey-goosey with definition. And that is why Matt chose this movie.
We've both been really into the You're Wrong About podcast.
Yeah.
And they had a discussion one time where they're
heard it.
Like,
we're still figuring out this podcast.
Well, it's like we say this what the premise of the podcast is, but sometimes it's not, and that's okay. And I want to say that's okay. However, if you had not liked the film we're talking about today is Splice, and it's a 2009 picture, and I didn't grow up with it. I saw it, I saw it in the summer of 2010 in the theaters. I think I'd graduated from college like a few days earlier. I went to see it. I remember not knowing anything about it, seeing it and being like, wow, I loved that. That was like so what I needed to see.
Did you not consume the trailer a lot?
I don't think I did.
Okay, then that explains why you didn't walk out like, what the fuck?
If I'd seen the trailer, let's table that.
Can we?
We'll put it on the table later.
I feel like we're putting it on the table now because we've tabled it. We'll pick it up off the table later.
That's in the United States, table means let's put that off for now. Whereas in Canada and Britain, it means like let's discuss it now. Let's put it on the table to discuss it right now. These things mean literally opposite things. It's crazy.
But if you told me we're going to put something on the table, I'd say it's time to discuss it.
Yes, love. But if I said let's table it.
Got it.
Let's table this discussion.
That is interesting.
Means the complete opposite thing in America as it does in Canada.
That's why we drive on the other side of the road. Yeah. Kidding, Canada doesn't do that.
No, they don't.
Okay.
Do you remember when we went to Canada?
Yes.
And we rented a car, in Seattle and then drove to Vancouver. Not shillings, Canadian dollars. And
Noodlings.
and we stayed in Vancouver for one day, and then we drove back. And as we crossed the border and went back into Washington State, you said, "I'm relieved to be back in America." You said, and it was like, what?
You just never know.
And you're just like,
go to jail abroad.
I like it. I like our flag. I think you said.
What are you talking? Okay,
said
this is just an episode where you're making up shit. I can't combat it.
It's a very specific memory I have.
Oh my god, that doesn't make it true. You know how memories work.
But I didn't make this up. So like jingoistic, like goddamn Canadians. It was unexpected because you had a great time in Canada. You love Canadians. It was the highlight of our trip, but when we got crossed back into America, you're like...
You just don't want to go to jail abroad. I'm just saying.
Something about America.
Why?
What do you
mean? You tell a story that could make me seem cool that I went to Canada, and then you fucking ruin it.
Guarantee this is the highlight of the episode for most people.
Okay,
you saying something about America.
Write a letter and let us know.
I promise I'll tell a cool story about you before the episode is done.
I don't know how you're going to narrow it.
You're very cool.
I know.
But sometimes you hate Canada.
Preferring America is not hating Canada.
That was 9 years ago, though. You're
so
a very different person now.
That's true. I definitely hate America now.
Yeah. That's good.
All right. Come on.
So, I cannot reasonably say this is a load-bearing beam and that I grew up with it, but I saw it 3 times.
That's a lot of times to watch this movie.
Yeah, over the course of like 3 or 4 years, whenever I'd think about it, I'd be like, oh, I love that movie. That's such a good movie. And then, just browsing around movies. What movies could we talk about? What would be good fodder? And I looked at this one. I thought, that'd be interesting. As we're watching it last night, and I'm like, not only was I right about how much I love this movie, I wasn't right enough. This movie fucking rules, and I would have been upset if you didn't like it. Because you had the most audible violent reactions to this movie that we had that have since Beavis and Butthead, maybe even more than Beavis and Butthead. I groaned
a lot.
You did a lot of...
Okay, that's different. That's more, I'm so amused and you've blown me away at how ridiculous this just happened. I don't know. It did it right, I guess. It kept surprising me and grossing me out, but enough. It was palatable enough that I can keep going. Mm-hmm. At no one point did it do something so offensive that I said, nope. And I was really doubtful just watching the opening credits. I don't think I've ever been so upset at opening credits.
You really were.
I just think that it thought it was very interesting. And I found it so boring to look at and gross for no fucking reason. And then the opening scene where something's given birth and all you see are all the actors looking at you and you feel like you're the baby that's coming out and then clear. I hated all. It's like, quit being cute. Tell me what you have.
But don't you appreciate that they're trying to be cute with credits? Credits such a lost art.
Yes, but it wasn't artful. Like they thought of half of it. The other were just thrown in words.
I agree, but let's describe this credit sequence a little bit. So first of all,
think of
this movie is distributed by Warner Brothers, produced by. There's a lot of hands a lot of cooks at the kitchen for this movie, because you have the director Vincenzo Natali, you have Guillermo del Toro who executive produced the movie. And then Joel Silver, who bought it when it debuted at Sundance in 2009, and then he says, "We can make this a hit." He buys it. A year later, they put it out under Warner Brothers, not like a sub label, but legit Warner Brothers. This movie got a super wide release, heavily marketed, and it's fucking crazy. This movie's nuts.
Crazy fucking movie.
So because there's so many cooks at the kitchen.
In the kitchen, they don't meet everybody at the kitchen. Everyone, come at the kitchen, please.
Fair.
Okay.
Did something I've never seen before, which is when it starts showing the studios and production companies at the beginning of the movie and their logos, instead of like going from one to the other, you have like a template, or you're in like a physical space, and each of the logos will rotate in.
But they'll slowly appear inside the fabric of whatever fucking weird thing they're depicting. It's like you have to hunt for it. Like, oh, that's a name.
Yes.
And the first one is so jarring that it's like, they're going to do this every time. No, they're not. There goes normal work.
But just of the logos at the beginning.
Oh.
Usually when a logo appears, then it'll move on to a different logo that is its entirely own thing. And I'm not explaining this well.
No.
Instead, it's like they made a PowerPoint presentation, a really nice looking PowerPoint presentation, and then the studio logos were put on top of the template rather than each having its own individual unique template. I've never seen that before. I know it sounds uninteresting. It is uninteresting.
Love credits though.
But I love credits, and this is cool, and go watch these credits.
No.
Then
so boring and gross. It managed to be boring and gross at the same time. That's why it pissed me off. It's like you can be one but not both.
Tell me what's gross about it.
I don't know what is going to get spliced together. I know it's a creature. I, for a brief time, thought it was the Human Centipede movie that he was making me watch. I
love what you said, too. You said, is this going to be a Human Centipede movie?
Like there's a genre.
Yeah. This isn't one of those Human Centipede movies, is it?
And then you said no, and I was like, oh, because that's the Human Centipede, right? Because that's the name of that movie. And so anyway, but it's all fleshy and tissue and fucking stretched out veins and scales, and I was like, oh god, those are the items that form the people's names. And it's just like, what if you were only ever a credited actor once and you had to say, my name was on the lights, it was in the fucking varicose veins? Like, that's just a weird media to put words into.
But crucially, this is so important, the varicose veins are forming in the names of the important people. So Adrian Brody, Sarah Polley. Then as it goes to like, and this is one of those movies, they're doing this more and more these days, I don't like it, where traditionally you have your actors who are above the title, you show them, then you do the name of the movie, then you name some more actors, then you move on to the crew. A lot of movies now will save the name of the movie for the very end. So traditionally, so now it's like, wow, all of these actors are above the title. Oh no, they're just
that's all they have. Yeah.
Yeah. So your director always goes at the end, and now director at the end, and then after that, the name of the movie. But in this one, they're alternating. They're the big important people get varicose pus veins, and then director of photography is just like in Times New Roman, just on the screen.
It's like, oh yeah, this guy. Yeah. It did feel like a PowerPoint. I don't know. There was something disjointed about it and unprofessional about it, and that I think it thought it did a really good job, and that's what pissed me off. Like, I know you put a lot of work into this, someone did.
So right away you're
boring as fuck, and then it smash cut straight to them like we're inside the womb, and it's just all the doctors for some reason reaching in to get us, and okay, here it comes, here up, and then up, it's flatlining, paddles, and it just quit being cute with the fucking camera. Tell me what am I? What just gave birth?
So you're agitated because you know.
I wanted to see how gross it was going to be. The credits were making me feel like it was going to be so gross, and then they go right into like, I'm not going to show you. I was going to be so mad if it was one of those movies where they don't show you for a long time.
Luckily, all right. Well, counterpoint. All of that is good. All of that is good mood setting.
I was annoyed.
Get you in the right frame of mind. Shocking. You're annoyed.
I just didn't know if it were going to be a good movie. If I'd realized it was going to be good, I would have tolerated more.
I truly didn't know that you thought it was good until the movie ended. Because I kept declaring, like, great movie, I'm so right, I'm so smart. And you were just like, nah.
The way you describe me.
It's true.
Why do you not run from this house and never look back?
Because
I'm always in a mood.
You're not always in a mood. You're in a mood at night when you're tired.
And we never see each other during the day or the morning. So perfect marriage.
Well, we got to do something about that. We have a podcast where we talk.
Where you force me to talk at night.
Yeah. Well, we were doing it during the work day.
That was bad. Too much anxiety about people emailing us and needing things and us getting caught.
We sit out by our fire table and we play games. Thing. Yeah,
okay, it's sad that you're listing ways that you do enjoy me, because that means the list is short enough to list. So let's just keep going.
What? There's no list. I enjoy being with you. You're my best friend. We do everything together.
See?
We work together. It's just that we work in separate rooms because you talk a lot.
I baited him into saying all that nice stuff. Ha! Schooled you. All right, go. What were you saying? Okay, all those things are cool. Oh, he's not talking. That's fun. We're on a fucking podcast.
All those things are cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening? What is born at the beginning of the movie, or what are they working on?
Ginger.
Ginger.
They
So
already
make
have a
these-
Fred.
They make these blobs that look really shitty.
Or a
You
Ginger.
say that we couldn't get an answer on whether they're CGI or practical.
I think they're practical. They look like
And
hand puppets.
And what it's looked like to me is like that is some cheap CGI that they didn't have enough money to make look interesting. Like it looks like a placeholder for something
first
better.
things you see, though, so like that'd be a shitty place to put your crap CGI.
Well, because so much of the budget is going to go to Dren, who is the Splice, and looks wonderful. Is so well executed, but these little monsters that they make look really boring and
They don't look
just non-specific. They're just blobs that
They're blobs.
blob around.
Do we need to care about this?
Do we need to care about this?
The point is they're blobs, and that means that these scientists are geniuses because they found a way to splice all the ugliest parts of ugly already animals and make a fucking blob.
Do you understand what the point of these things is? Like
yeah,
what they plan to do with these things?
They were using a vessel mixed with all of the most beneficial parts of the other animals to try and make a maximally beneficial protein to help with animal feed. But that was supposed to be a springboard into developing it for like medical reasons and human health.
Yeah. So they're Adrian Brody and Sarah Polley. They play Clive and what is her name?
Elsa.
And Elsa.
So
yes.
fucking distracting.
Why?
Because there's Elsa to me is obviously Frozen, but also very much atypical. The show. That's it's a distracting theatrical weird name to use, but it's fine. I got over it. I'm okay.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of like us because they're married. Actually, I don't know if they're married, but they're romantically involved.
They have rings.
Long-term partners. They work together. They play together, and they have a research company who is funded and in contract with this big pharma company who is directed, they want to do science their way, but the pharma company's like, no, we want you to do this.
I've learned a whole lot about venture capitalism, about investors, and about what happens when you take on money from investors that you get ruled by their needs.
The investors are interested in this podcast, to be clear.
You only get so much amount of time to do things at no profit, and they force you to do the part, even if there is bigger plans to expand the original part behind it, they will always make you package in an immediately profitable part. So it sounds like these guys were at the end of their funding and at the end of their grace period before they could kick into their it's boring.
What the pharma company wants them to do,
horse feed company, but go ahead,
is like, no, we want you to do like boring stuff. Can you just like use this to make a thing?
No, they just were out of money. All the investors were getting pissed that they weren't getting their return investment yet. So they had to do the part that they were able to at least, they got to the point where they could extract a protein. They just had to capitalize on that and pause the rest of what the science could do one day and make use of what it can do now, so that they can start selling this stuff to self-fund the project. So the investors are no longer sitting there with empty pockets. Because the investors are just like a board of directors, and so you're constantly getting people like, where's my money? Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you. They want to, there's like this understanding, like we're going to be doing revolutionary shit. We're going to be splicing. We're going to be cloning.
Dyson.
All kinds of shit. And the company's like, great, we're really excited about that. But first, could you just like make some money like in a really straightforward way? But there is kind of this stealth thread throughout the movie, or you don't realize it until the movie ends on
like
this.
Like a phantom thread?
It's like this phantom thread where everything that Sarah Polley and Adrian Brody are doing to Dren, their creation, the company has been doing to them, because like it's using them to do all kinds of inhumane things, and in the end it's gonna either profit, or if stuff goes horribly wrong, they'll just write a check and sweep it under the rug. But it's like I thought
like no one in the world knows you exist, so that worst case scenario, we'll just kill you.
that all their experiments are also happening on a bigger level that you're not totally seeing. You're just seeing sort of a faceless corporation banally making decisions that are that are encouraging people to do all kinds of crazy things.
To your
science.
point, Matt, to extend your parallel story theme there, they are both guilty of creating something that they wanted for one purpose and not realizing and not appreciating that they were creating something much more powerful than they meant to, with much more autonomy than they ever meant it to have. So in that way, the scientists are that for the corporation, and obviously Drin, they both become gods in their own ways. Drin literally flies and fucks whatever she wants, and
they're creating life. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So they have to put aside they're like, no, put it into this splicing program, god damn it. And they're like, but we don't want to. Hey, wife, what if we sneak out our research and do it anyway? What? Why are you shaking your head?
Because it was the wife that made
whatever.
this thing
I'm just trying to.
That's a big part of the story. Is that Elsa's the driver of this? She's made the demon so many times throughout the movie.
That's true. I mean, I think of her as being the driver of this thing is a child, is a person. We need to care about it as a child. Opposite.
It goes there, but the whole time she's just trying to. Well, I guess we do figure out that that's what she wanted to do, was create an experimental child, and a child to experiment on in a way. Experiment her mothering on. It's a weird subplot.
Yeah, and eventually we find out she put her own DNA in there too, so it's like she can recreate made a baby herself. Elsa.
Well, I think she wanted more of a chance of connecting to it because that is what a baby would be. So, okay. So after, there's a scene before all this starts happening where Adrian Brody asks her, doesn't want to move in a particular house because there's not enough room for a baby. And you can tell she does not want to have a baby. Mm-hmm. So they're struggling with this. And we don't know why she doesn't want to be a mom, but she's a fucking professional scientist. So we don't think like she needs a reason. She's like, yeah, she doesn't want a fucking baby.
Well, I was wondering, why does a woman not have a child? It was very confusing.
Well, they make that very clear that there's no time to even be like, yeah, why would she want to? She just made a huge scientific breakthrough and she's got a banging bod. Why would she want a fucking baby? So I bought all that. And then it turns out, no. She desperately wants a baby, but she's so scared that she's going to treat it like a prisoner the way she was treated. So she wants to first experiment on a non-human. Cool.
And she does make her a prisoner and very quickly torturing her. And
she oscillates so quickly from treating Drin like a person, a child, a precious tiny angel baby, to sit, stay, go in your place, like to a dog.
Well, like when Drin pleases her or meets her expectations of what a pretty young girl will do,
smart.
Great. When she does not, Elsa very quickly snaps
into her mother. Like her whole face changes.
This is the worst part of the movie, I think, is this
plot. Yeah, it is maybe the laziest I've ever seen it. They put it there, but they don't do enough with it. Like I can't think of another movie where something that was supposed to color the way you see a character is their tortured childhood, and they make it very clear that she had a bad childhood, but they never do any kind of a flashback. They very specifically have the character say she won't talk about it. So we're not allowed to know at all.
Yeah.
We don't know what kind of things happen. All we know is she was not allowed to have dolls or toys, and we know that she lived in a room that looked like a crack house.
Yeah, it's very weighty stuff for the movie to just kind of casually.
That's what it is. So casual,
and it's like when you know that it's just there it's not okay. It's not just there for like shorthand about who she is, because this is very important to the movie,
right?
But this is sort of the weakest piece, just because it doesn't have the depth of the other stuff, of the main thrust of questions about science, humanity, parenting. I mean, parenting, like literally what responsibilities do you have for bringing life into this world? Even stuff like abortion. It's dealing with all these other things in just a much better way. That's all.
Yeah, I just they needed a reason to explain a lady person not being completely maternal. So the way that they figured that out was, because she had a horrible relationship with her mother. That's why she can go from wanting to keep it alive to wanting to kill it. That makes sense, right? Because she was tortured.
Yeah, not just that makes it sound so much shittier than it is. But
that is what they were struggling with, how to make a strong female character that wasn't inherently maternalistic. She wasn't dying to have a baby. Then she couldn't help but be totally protective of the thing that she made, but they couldn't let her just be a normal human that would have struggling thoughts with that. They had, it's because she was kept in a cell and she only had this ugly Barbie that she had to hide.
Well, let's talk about what they create. And they do it in secret. They're not supposed. They could go to jail for this.
They have a giant secret lab, luckily.
Well, they own the company. They own their own lab. So,
but there's tons of scientists
off the books. They're not telling their other employees about it. They're like Scott Stappen with arms wide open. They're creating life with arms wide open, and they are going to splice a human.
Ironically, born without arms,
with a chicken and some other animals.
We could only figure out that it was a chicken and a human. And a dragon. Where did the scorpion tail come from? And the scorpion.
And a dog.
And a scorpion.
Scorpion. I don't know. But their plan is they're going to kill it before it comes to term because it's gestating in an artificial womb.
They just need to see that we got some human DNA to mesh with this other. We just want to see that it indeed will grow, but as soon as we know it grows, we'll kill it. And then we'll put it on ice, which is how they...
But they don't kill it. They let it get born.
Elsa
they don't mean
does.
to.
Elsa does. And we don't know that she doesn't mean to. She's the one checking on its gestation every single day. And he says, how did you let it get so big? And she said, it wasn't that big this morning. So.
But it does grow exponentially. It grows really fast.
I still wish I knew understand how much time went from start to finish of Jordan's life because I assume
it's a few months.
Yeah, okay.
So this thing gets born, and you have some very alien, like literally the movie Alien sort of energy with the little creature running around the lab that you can't see. It's very scary. This is really, really well-made horror for a little while.
Jurassic Parky.
Creature. Jurassic Parky, yeah. And finally, you meet the little fucker, and it starts off as a little fish blob, and then grows into a little chicken without arms.
When we were pregnant, you could see the way the baby looked, and as it was forming, those were the stages it was going through.
Oh, but
very similar, right. But like that elongated head, because it used to be a body with a tail, and it just slowly gets smaller, and like the seam. We're all very ugly at some. So it's like, at what point, are you allowed to terminate that? It's like that's just one big abortion story. At my most disappointed with the movie, I was like, oh God, this is just one big movie about abortion. When is life okay to terminate? They're having her experience her entire life out of a womb to show us that it's a person before you think it is.
Okay, but
I am ruining this movie.
No, I think that's good. I think that's an important question to wrestle with. We're both very pro-choice people.
Yeah.
There is the point of thought experiments, and this movie is a thought experiment, is to pull your intuitions out. Show, okay, so you think this. Why do you think that? And what does that say about your philosophy, about the way you view the world? And if human babies did grow completely outside,
or lived in a fish tank until they were ready.
Yes,
right. You could see them.
We would not feel this. Like, it would feel different because the main moral argument I have for women being allowed to have abortions is it's their body, and you're not allowed to let somebody else use your body.
And that's the point. It's not inside of any kind of a body. If babies grew in a fish tank, I wouldn't have that objection. They wouldn't be hurting a human body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if babies grew in a fish tank, would you still have the right to kill it at any time?
No, I think it would be much different. I mean, you still are responsible for feeding the fish. I mean, at some point you can flush down the toilet, right?
But that's why these questions are so interesting.
Yeah. This chicken has no arms.
This chicken grows. It has no arms. It looks amazing. I love it. Oh, I love it.
You want to fuck it instantly? Is that what we're saying?
As a movie.
What, you want to fuck it as a movie?
I like to fuck this movie. I like this movie so much. I want to take it on a date.
All right.
With you, though.
Oh, good. We'll have a little wholesome threesome.
Trio.
Go ahead.
We'll go mini golfing. And
okay.
I think it looks really cool. I love creatures. Cool. I love creature features. I love the Jurassic Park movies. I love little puppets and little audio animatronics. And when it's in its little toddler phase, it's a really cool little audio animatronic. Augmented by some CGI, but it looks awesome. And Adrian Brody is like, dude, holy shit, this is going way too fast. All of a sudden, we have this weird little evil, maybe carnivorous baby that's trying to kill us, but
That
maybe
has a
not. It's
poison
also
tail.
kind of cute.
Poison tail that we have to keep a styrofoam cup on so it doesn't kill. But is it also a dick?
And they're also learning stuff. They're trying to conduct their experiments. Like day 7, the thing loves to eat paste.
Audio log.
Yeah.
Right. And he's the whole time. It's Weekend at Bernie's. He's the guy that's like, we have to call the police. Oh, look. Come on, man. Boobs. Come on, we have to call the police. That's all. You got the guy that keeps saying, no, let's go. This is for science. We're scientists.
But also, like, you want us to just kill it?
We're going to just kill it?
Look at it's a living thing.
It's
like, but you're the one who let it live, so now you were the one who knowingly created the issue, and now you're like, well, you want us to just solve the issue? I mean, what would that say about you?
How dare you? Right.
Then there's a jump ahead, and it grows a little, and suddenly you see her.
Now it's in a dress.
And she's wearing a dress, and this is when I want to stand up and applaud the movie.
This is when I want to fucking jump out of my skin.
Best.
Dude.
There's nothing like the shock of suddenly seeing this thing in an adorable dress.
You think it's going to be an alien movie.
Yeah,
you think it's going to keep, they're going to keep chasing it around the fucking lab in their spacesuits. You don't expect adorable child.
We watched the trailer, and the trailer did make it seem like this is a creature feature. This is Jurassic Park, or this is whatever. This is any kind of, this is alien. This is, you're trapped in a lab. Oh God, where is it over there? Oh! And suddenly it's in a dress, and it's your child.
And this woman is playing house with it, and I immediately love it. I love her. I see my son in her, and then she's nonverbal, and she communicates with sounds, and she loves the alphabet, and like it's all these things that remind me so much of Sully. So that is when
Sully's our autistic son, to be clear.
That is when
for new
number 1 on my 6 things it did that were too much for me list happened, which is child in bad living conditions / captivity / in danger.
Yeah. So I wouldn't have picked. It was a mistake of my part. I don't like to watch things with you that put kids in danger or that violate any of these rules. I know these are your rules.
Yeah, and when I saw it, I was like, "How are you doing this to me?" That's my astonishment was that you took a fucking risk. This might go a really bad direction.
I somehow totally forgot about that part of the movie. We both just
strapped in and we're like,
even though that's such the point of the movie.
It's the point of the fucking movie. You apparently remembered the creature and the older Dren because those are your 2 favorite. My favorite was the little girl.
That's my favorite part too.
Oh, because it's the biggest. Like, what? This movie's different than I thought.
You have to watch this movie just for the shock of that jump cut and how crazy she looks. Also, how beautiful and adorable she looks, and how fucking weird this is.
And then that's where Adrian Brody comes in. The whole time he's just like, I'm trying to enjoy this with you, but what the fuck? Like, he keeps, Elsa is the driving force of this. She's all the fuck in. And he just keeps like, this is going too far. I mean, I get it. She's cute. Oh, what is this? He's disturbed and captivated and completely scared of Elsa. And
so what else is on your list? This is when I'm like, hey, trigger warnings are useful. Because if I could just be told ahead of time,
child endangerment.
Yes.
Child in captivity.
Then I won't
child
watch
treated like animal.
With Laci.
Okay, and here's where this is when I'm like, well,
not like I want to watch these things too, but
okay. So here's where I'm like, okay, you cross another line like this, and I'm leaving. It is when Adrian Brody and his lady have sex in front of the fucking kid. I was already upset that they went. Okay, they're in a storage closet because they're about to get raided and found out, and the kid's too big to live in the lab. So now they have to go into the downstairs big storage area. They bring her down in a fucking box. That's fine. And now she's got her own little bedroom where Elsa tucks her in. They live in a different home. I don't like that she gets left alone so much. That bothers me too. But anyway, they're just hanging. There's a sofa on the other side of a sheet that divides her makeshift bedroom from whatever this lounge area is, and they're like, hey, we haven't fucked in a while, and so they start having sex, and the kid's barely asleep. I'm sure she's not asleep, so I'm already disturbed. And then sure enough, The dude is about to climax, notices the girl standing up, looking straight through the sheets, staring at it, and he just locks eyes with her and finishes. Like, okay, you came while staring at a child. I know it wasn't sexual.
It wasn't Elsa staring at her? It was
no,
Adrian
Elsa
Brody?
had no idea any of that happened.
Okay.
And that is, I think, maybe the significance of why they show that imprinting of Fred and Ginger, how they look at each other face to face and they twist their tongues. They show you that in the beginning of the movie. So my theory is that him orgasming while looking her in the eyes was them imprinting. Like they were destined to fuck after that. At least in her mind. And that's disturbing. It's like a 7-year-old little girl at that point.
This is also whether it's fucking Freudian psychoanalysis.
I need you to fuck you.
Or just, it's the oldest story is kids learning about sexuality via their parents, often by accident. And
part of you thinking, they don't know what we're doing. It's okay that they walked in. They'll forget
the implications of creating this fucked up thing and it being intelligent and not a human, but she is a person. She has humanity. She knows
2 people. And one of them she now knows likes to fuck while they look at her.
Yes. And so it's like, hey, parents, you have an immense responsibility.
Right.
And you're going to fuck up. And you're going to create all kinds of ramifications that you're not going to understand. Love it. Great. This is great. Also, this is so creepy when this happens. It's like so scary. The way she appears, then she disappears, and he can't totally tell if he had even like not actually seen her at all.
That's not true. He knew he saw her. He just couldn't tell if her eyes were on him or not. He couldn't tell if she... It's enough, right? Like, you're about to come. You're just like, she's fine. This is weird. But I came. And now I just feel weird about it later. I'm pretty sure I crossed a line there, but she doesn't know. This whole thing of, like, your kid doesn't know anything and...
She's a little chicken alien. Yeah, how's she supposed to know?
She knows how to fucking spell.
No, I'm saying this is what he thinks, because he's a backwards piece of shit.
No, he's not. It's just... You don't realize you're giving birth to a person who's going to be have a completely different life outside of you, have a different experience of life outside of you. Even if you think you know them best, you don't know them. None of us know our children. We don't know what they think and feel. They spend the majority of their time away from us or alone. And that is the case with Dren. They still have another home that they go to. They go to their day jobs. All they do is come and like make her spell things, and then they tuck her in. They go, okay, bye, bitch.
Yeah, and like your kid, all of a sudden one day you walk into the room and your kid's like, you're like, my kid, I'm going to be around my kid now. He wants me. And your kid's like,
bye.
Can you go to the other room now?
You've taught me how to be okay alone.
Yeah.
Yep.
That your kid will one day have an interiority. Will have.
But that's what kills me. They have it the whole time. Mm-hmm. And like, until they can express that, parents choose to not see it.
Yeah. And many times don't after that, too.
Right.
So what else is this movie violating your personal...
I mean, do you want to keep... that's all that I have until she gets bigger.
Okay, so...
Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. A violent drowning of a small child while the mother screams and watches.
Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, that's when I almost got up. Like,
and he
what
does
the
it
fuck?
because...
He does it because he wants to kill her.
He is trying to kill her... Although then he very quickly, her lungs open up and she has amphibious lungs because I guess they must, yes, they use frog DNA.
Okay.
That they had to have because that explains the amphibious lungs
and the backwards legs.
And the sex change.
The sex change.
So she has like a fever, she's dying, and Adrian Brody then puts her into the tank of water.
But he's been thinking he needs to kill her anyway because his brother found out that they have this chicken baby and is very upset because he's also a scientist. They're putting everything at jeopardy. He goes and has a talk with his brother. Then he comes downstairs to Dren being sick. And he's like, well, she's sick. Well, let's kill her.
But instead, it saves her life because she has amphibious lungs, whatever that means.
It means she likes to swim.
She loves
and breathes
to swim.
underwater.
What a fucking haunting image to see a girl in a dress underwater. But now she's breathing.
On her most vulnerable, she's scared to death because she has fever and she's dying. Her mother's very scared for her. And then you shock her by putting her in cold water because that's how you cure a fever. Like, just give her some fucking Tylenol. Anyway,
and he suggests that as a joke.
So she's
He's like, what are we supposed to do? Give her Tylenol?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And then they torture her by putting her in cold water. And then, don't worry, little daughter, this is actually where you're going to die. That was the third time I was about to say, fuck you, movie.
And fuck you, Matt.
Yep.
I felt very anxious watching this movie because I could feel your anger.
It's an anger
toward me.
Oh, none of it was toward you, you fucking idiot. It's not about you.
Now they have to get her out of the lab because...
But don't worry, they have an entire farm, but the power's still working.
Matter. She's like, hey, I never told you, but I own a farm. So they go to the farm. Dren is growing really fast. Now she's played by the French actress Delphine Chanac, who does a wonderful job as adult Dren. Dren is a grown-up lady now. Torso and up looks pretty human with, some weirdly misplaced eyes and a thing on her head. She doesn't speak.
What thing on her head?
She's got like a line going down her
that
head,
completely
right?
seals by the time she's that age.
Oh, okay. She never learns to verbalize, but obviously she is very intelligent. She can spell things.
She makes sounds. She communicates with her voice.
She has desire. She wants a cat. She wants to be free. She wants to run around the woods. She wants to hunt rabbits.
She wants to just not live in a barn.
But also she has these natural instincts to hunt and all this shit because they made a fucking spliced human animal thing.
Yeah, also kids like to play outside. It's not fucking science, yeah.
But yeah, okay, so a teenager, good word. She's a teenager. She's getting hormonal, having sexual desires.
She mainly just doesn't want to be abused and have the only thing she loves taken away from her, which is the cat.
That's a big thing. And then
she's pretty sure that the guy doesn't like her at all the entire time until she's about to kill herself on a roof. And he says, I love you. And then she's so happy and she hugs him.
Oh, when she hugs him, it's like, Jesus.
And then it turns.
Then it turns. Why does it turn?
Well, because, he dances with her. And she tilts her head back, and
she's drifting away from Elsa. They're no longer seeing eye to eye.
Well, because Elsa took the cat away. That was what happened. And so Elsa's not in the barn with her; she's in the main house. So the dude goes. Clive goes into the barn as he normally would after work. Like, where's Elsa? Where's my girls? And realizes Dren's alone. So to cheer her up, he puts on some music and awkwardly dances, and then they dance together. And he says what a great dancer she is, and she throws her head back and giggles, and then you think, oh, he accidentally got sexually attracted to her, but what he realizes is he sees Elsa's neckline and breasts or something. Like something reminds him of Elsa, and he immediately knows.
It's just like picking up
the DNA that Elsa used was hers.
Yeah,
and
just picking up. Yeah, you're my wife, kind of.
That's nice. That's a nice little thing.
You're my wife, kind of.
For you to say about him.
Okay, but you know how you look at your kid sometimes and you're just like, if you're biologically related to your kid, you're like, oh, there's that thing of mine.
The thing that
trait of mine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Right, but I don't look at Sully and go, there's my husband.
There's my husband. There's that thing of mine.
I'm going to pet you on the monitor later when I'm looking at you and you're in the tub.
To be clear, you just recognize a trait, some sort of...
Yes, so he realized in a flash that, okay, that's where she got the DNA so fast. But you don't question a scientist when they just show up with DNA. Like, I got some fucking DNA. Okay, so that brings me to number 4. Which I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, but they fuck naturally. So he, in like 2 more scenes, he does finally get around to having some sex with her. And I know she's supposed to be a young adult, but small boobs, no pubic hair, completely childlike behavior, and maturity and innocence. So no, he's fucking a tiny little girl. She's like 4 months old. I'm not okay with that. I don't care if she's hot. She doesn't know she's hot. She's a fucking baby. And then
she's a baby based on a human timeline. I mean, yes, obviously this is crazy and fucked up.
She has no experience. She's got no other option. He has all the control. It's not okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no argument there. It's not that it's not okay. Your chicken
creature in captivity doesn't grow up old enough to be able to fuck it, and it's okay that you fuck it.
Yeah, it's crazy that he does it.
And he does it.
But okay, so reading about the making of this movie, Vincenzo Natali, he's a director, indie director, made Cube, which is a good movie that I haven't seen in a long time. And he likes to chase these ideas down like to the logical extent raised by the questions. Like he said the human being sexually attracted to some sort of like other species. That's like ancient mythological stuff.
Like a minotaur, a centaur, or a minotaur. That's it. Or a mermaid.
Yeah. Yes, mermaid.
Figuring out where to put your dick. Mm-hmm. I wonder how this works.
And he's like, normally, this is a Frankenstein story, but Dr. Frankenstein fucking the monster doesn't usually happen. And it's not like, wouldn't it be so fucked up if Dr. Frankenstein fucked the monster? Well, but what if the monster was also your wife, was accelerated, had a big libido and was seducing you, and you were growing distant from your wife too, and also your life is so weird and secret and crazy.
Nice that you think that she was seducing when all she wanted was affection, and the only way she could get it from him was to be sexual.
True. Well, you're denying her sexual agency.
She's 4 months old.
She is not 4 months old.
Oh my God.
But you're using
thank you. I'm trapped in my human thoughts. I'm saying her experience level. She's got no options. He's got the control. It's not okay. You don't get to say that she's being sexy or coming on to him. She's doing what he has signaled he wants from her. That's how grooming works, Matt.
That's not what this is. I think that she has independent sexual desires because she has humanity.
How nice that he's the only man on earth. I guess he gets to do it.
It's gross.
It is gross. Anyway, the two examples, and maybe why these things are allowed to be the myths, is that there are no genitalia not one you could have sex with for a minotaur or a mermaid, right? That's maybe why they're innocent enough. Where are you going to put it? So then the whole time you're really not sure if she's got an opening down there. Like, I don't know. She's got a tail. And you never see it. He just goes in it. Like, well, I guess she had one.
She did.
Because if she could have had one that folds out, like if she were amphibian. Yeah. We don't know.
Well, she probably should have.
Well, she does. It's back there. She's got both.
Yeah.
She's got the dick and the... All right.
I think director Vincenzo Natali would be delighted at this conversation because...
we should send him the reel.
You're saying she's 4 months old. I'm saying she's not 4 months old. That... you have to, in this case, think of her as a young adult or something. Even if she literally is 4 months old, I'm
not a simpleton. I understand. It's just that his memory of her is as a little girl 2 months ago. So I'm saying he has too recent a memory of her being small and helpless, and guess what? She's still helpless except she can fly. Except for she's a fucking creature someone's going to kill or captivate immediately, so she's still stuck there. So guess who she gets to fuck? Her dad.
But it's so weird to him that it's like, what rules are there anyway?
Yeah. He built a fucking... he built a
I just admire that this movie goes there. Yeah. And then after this happens,
there's more.
And his wife catches him, they then have to go have a conversation about whether their marriage can survive the fact.
The most uncomfortable walk of shame I've ever... When he goes into that apartment with his slumped shoulders... I mean, how do you rebound from your wife catching you fuck your chicken baby? I don't... Is this... we skipped a part. He has all this sympathy for her and wants to go, make sure she's okay because Elsa ties her up and takes away... She's got a venomous tail that she used to kill a cat because she was upset with Elsa. So she used it to show Elsa her, look, I'm strong too. I can kill this cat. You're next. So Elsa strips her naked, and now we get to see her boobs and hairless vagina. She's like a shaved cat. And she's strapped down, clearly in pain, and then she basically gives her like a circumcision. I mean, she's basically taking her libido away.
Yes, she is torturing. This is torture.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
I didn't even put that on my list.
It's supposed to be fucked up.
Yeah, I didn't put it on my list. Anyway, to make her feel better, he has sex with her.
Yeah.
That's nice of him.
It is a fine line. Fine line mean I've never understood fine line. A fine line means a short line, means like a you could very easily tip from one place to the other.
Fine line means that it's thin. So yeah, you don't know when you're crossing it.
That's what I'm saying.
It's so thin, it's not short. short is how long something is.
What short?
Thin is width.
I meant the width.
You're a graphic designer. You need to know the
Oh,
difference.
fuck off.
Okay.
It's a fine line between a movie that's like
bring the cooks to the
kitchen, exploring, quote unquote problematic themes, and then a movie that's problematic because it has this fucked up stuff without being aware. It doesn't
grapple with it. Yeah, that's what this movie's all about. Where are these lines? And
it's to make us wonder what is a human being? What do we owe to kids? What do we owe to animals? What do we owe to gorillas and chimps? I was thinking constantly about Koko the gorilla and Project Nim because I've always been kind of interested in those. And I listened to the You're Wrong About podcast about Koko because I've always I knew that there are people. People would say Koko, that's like a hoax. Like she couldn't actually do sign language. And I've always tried to understand, what was going on there? And that the You're Wrong About podcast did a great job of explaining what exactly was going on there. But I didn't know that basically this idea that the popular narrative was this scientist sort of raised a gorilla as her own daughter and taught her sign language. And this gorilla can communicate beautifully and prolifically in sign language. And that is not totally true. And that was pretty quickly debunked. And in the 80s... I feel
like you're setting up a straw man. I don't know if anyone said she beautifully articulated. Like, she's there just fluently talking. I don't think that's what anyone thought.
When Koko died...
she wrote a note.
Tons of obituaries said Koko, the gorilla who mastered sign language.
Yeah, mastering the ability to do it at all, not mastering the way a human could perfect it.
You're objecting to a very small thing.
No, I'm not. It's the difference between Sully being able to say yes, no, and okay, and someone talking in a conversation.
The popular understanding was she can do sign language pretty damn well. It's
all right. Okay, go ahead. What's your point?
And that she communicates on the level of, say, a 4-year-old child. Wow, how amazing. Gorillas are so smart. Now, and apparently in the scientific community, this was understood in the early 80s that that's not what was happening. And then all these experiments of raising apes as children and trying to teach them human language stopped because we suddenly saw, no, we can't do it. And it's not because apes are dumb. It's because they have millions of years of evolution that did not allow them, where they did not develop human language development. They have their own unique tools that human beings don't have, but you can't just suddenly start to teach a gorilla, even if it is brilliant, how to do sign language and how to actually communicate in sign language, which is its own full language. What was actually happening was she knew how to do lots of signs and got positive reinforcement for doing the right ones. And then her trainer would also say a lot of things like, she's saying this. Oh, yes, Koko, that is blah, blah, blah.
This is making me think of ABA therapy.
The idea of raising a kid, but it also being a science experiment.
Right. This
is so disturbing.
Thing is winning you.
But it's also like, how else can you do these experiments?
Well, why do they need to be done?
I don't know, but I'm kind of glad that they are. But then it's also
you're
fucked
not
up.
Koko?
Yes, I'm not Koko.
I'm just saying it made the woman a star, not... And yeah, you always have to be... It's like someone who raises their precocious kid to be a child pastor. Like, he just really loves Jesus. Like, no, he's just trying to make you not beat him at night. So he's a really precocious child who can also do sermons at the age of 10. We watched a documentary on that. It's any child performer, right? It's like, that's his captivity.
That's not, I mean, I think she had a good life.
How do you know? I'm sure she wanted to live, in her own habitat with her own fucking other people who could talk her language instead of struggling to communicate with this woman who gave her fucking, chiclets? I don't know what she gave her. And cameras. I'm sure getting cameras and having lots of people crowd around you was super fun. Mm-hmm. I'm ruining all kinds.
Yeah, you are. Well... Twist, Dren can change sexes. And does.
And does change sex. And the male version of her, not bad.
Also, female version of her, not bad.
All right, we already know that you like... Okay, we got that part.
Who knew that? I didn't know that. You didn't know that. Nobody knew that.
You said it at the beginning.
I did?
Yeah. The beautiful Dren. That's how you said it.
Yes, but I meant beautiful like how I said Koko signs. Beautifully.
Maybe it was your huge erection that made me realize what.
Gotta do a better job hiding that. Turns into a man. Now, fair enough, these two people have been torturing her. One raped her, one tortured her.
Wait, first they decide they're going to go kill her. I don't remember why.
Do they?
Yes, and then they go in and she's in the tank and she's drowned. So like, oh, well, we don't have to kill her. I don't remember why they were deciding. Oh, because they went and had to talk about their marriage and decided they needed to end it because they were crossing lines all over the place. Some of us were making humans, other ones were fucking it. So now we need to kill it. Let's kill our sins by killing Dren. They go to the barn to kill her, but Dren's already appeared to have drowned. She's again in the water, staring up creepily, but we should have known. That just meant she was going to morph. So they go and bury her. And then super mad venture capitalist scientist is like, what did you do in the lab? I heard you have a human chicken and whatever. And show me her. And they're both like, be our guest. Here's a shovel. Dead. And then they discover there's no body. And then what happens? A bald eagle screech sound, and then a giant man is picked up and flung into the tops of a tree and dies from 3 scratches across his face. How does he die? They don't, maybe he was stung, but they don't show that. He's just like, oh, he got picked up, so he died. Yeah. When you get picked up, you die.
I mean, probably.
That's terrifying. You don't want to.
If you got picked up, if you got picked
talons.
up by a pterodactyl and then it just kind of flung you, like, your head would hit a tree and you just die. You have like brain contusions.
You're right. Okay, so his brother, Clive's brother, is also there because he's accompanied the scientist. And so are they all being chased so they're running into the woods, or are they all running to get Dren so they're going into the woods? I can't remember.
I think at that point they're just running from him.
Her. She's still a girl at the time.
She is?
Yes. And she doesn't become a male until she's in the water.
Oh. All right.
I've only seen it once, but all right. So now we can't see his brother. So we now understand that the brother has died. 2 people are dead now. Shit's really escalated. And then she disappears. He drops a flashlight. I'm really good at telling all these details here. He and then she and then it.
Drop a flashlight. And then they're like, I gotta get my flashlight from the lake.
I really need it in the lake.
Suddenly getting a flashlight from the lake seems really important, but no, Dren's down there. Comes out of the water. I'm a man now. I'm really angry and aggro. And
there's my last thing on the list. Getting raped with a spear.
Yeah.
So male Dren does not fuck with a penis. Male Dren fucks with the organ that they had all along, which was a tail that like a scorpion spikes retracts out of when it's aroused or angry, or both those things mean aroused, right? So he takes that and it's fucking miles long and spiky and slowly fucks the lady with it. So they both got a taste of that Dren action.
Because she says, what do you want? And for the first time, Dren speaks and says,
what does he say?
Inside you.
Yeah, right. Because, no. Yeah. Inside.
This doesn't make sense. Again, Gorillas, the Project Nim was, can we actually teach a chimpanzee to speak? No, because apes don't have human vocal cords. It would take millions of years of evolution to get them. It's not like they just were not taught how to speak. How would she suddenly or he suddenly, now I've got these things, I can use them. Whatever. It's still creepy.
It's creepy.
She gets pregnant.
No, okay. Wait.
Adrian Brody dies. They kill Dren.
3 people are dead now. And smash cut to the lady with the head board person of the whatever.
Of the big pharma company.
Mm-hmm. Making some kind of $1 million deal because she's agreed to do something. And then she pushes out from her chair and she's pregnant. Big fucking duh. And, okay, I get it. Okay, so she's going to have an alien baby. Very interesting. What about the 3 dead people? What did they do with that? How are all of them not in jail? They don't explain it all.
Oh, because the cops are in the pocket of the pharmaceutical company, man.
It's a horse feed company, and
no, it is a pharmaceutical company.
Fine, whatever. Whatever. I thought that was lazy. You've got 3 dead people now, and
so
all the.
you want a scene where they're like, and here's what
I
happened with
want a
the court
reckoning
case
of.
involving.
No, how has the company not been disbanded? How can they even? Why even risk giving birth to another one of these where murder happened? They'd have no freaking backers by this point.
I don't want to sound like this guy.
That's not the point.
Don't you think that this kind of shit's happening all the time with big companies?
I guess I don't know. Murder?
Well, yes. But I mean, like,
covering
crazy
up
shit.
Because
we're always learning about crazy shit that they're covering up.
Not
spent
3
billions of dollars to.
Talon murders.
Has killed millions of people and had to pay billions of dollars in damages for it. And they're still profitable because it's just the cost of doing business.
Okay.
So it's the cost of doing business is getting a woman pregnant by a chicken man. Because now you think of all the things you're going to learn. And if you don't, oh well.
We'll just kill the 2 of them.
Capitalism is out of control. This movie comes out, it doesn't make a lot of money, and it was marketed as a very conventional horror movie. It is not, and I bet the Cinema Score was really bad on this movie. And Cinema Score, if you don't know, is this company that does, surveys, in real-time reactions from people coming out of the movie theaters. Right. What'd you think of the movie? I loved it. Thumbs up.
Just a hot and fast take of how's this movie doing?
Yes. It's very hard to get below an A. Like the new Tom and Jerry movie, which has some of the worst reviews I've read in a long time, has an A- on Cinema Score.
Wow.
Because it's like, they had Tom, they had Jerry. Great. 2 thumbs up.
So then we had this theory.
But Splice has a D.
Has a D. And so we had this theory that has to correlate with movie previews that do not at all prepare you for the turn it's going to take. And you're supposed to have surprises in sci-fi and in horror movies, but they're conventional surprises.
Yeah.
They stick to. This movie took so many moral, ethical turns that it luckily got right, but I could very much see walking out of that movie like, what?
Well, I think the sex thing is going to throw people off, but I really think it's just it wasn't scary enough, or there weren't enough thrills and chills.
Oh.
It is a very thrilling movie, but for, these interesting thematic reasons.
Psychological.
It's not your straightforward thriller.
Then that does correlate with, that is similar to the other movie that also got such a bad score. Yeah,
Darren Aronofsky's Mother notoriously is like either the worst rating or like equal to the worst rating of all time.
I fucking hated that movie.
Because it was marketed as a horror movie. Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, it's a horror film. And
no, it's a torture a baby film.
Yeah, so these bad cinema scores come when people's expectations were of what they were seeing.
I'd like to see the Babadook then.
Did not match up. My mom recently was like, "Hey, we saw this movie in theaters. Do you know what?" There was Javier Bardem, I think, and Michelle Pfeiffer and Ed Harris, and there's a house, and I was like, "Are you talking about Mother?" She's like, yes. And I was like, with Jennifer Lawrence? Yeah. That movie was so weird. And I was like, you were the last person in the world who should have seen that movie. I can't believe you went to see it. That is the power of movie marketing. And I get very grateful for these things that are mainstream but totally subversive and working, in the studio system, but they're going to do totally weird and fucked up things to audiences.
Yeah.
But if you're my mom, no.
Okay. I should have never seen Mother either, though. It's just so, it's not random, but it is hard to put my finger on what's going to do. And once it happens, I can't undo that it fucked up my brain. Luckily, it doesn't happen that often.
In the case of Mother, though, there was just one very specific thing that ruined.
I don't want to talk about it. I can see it when I close my eyes. I see it all the time. Baby peeing straight up in the air. I just can't. Oh, okay. There's 3 things I see when I close my eyes. If I want to torture myself, that's one of them. Not even describing the other 2 because they're so bad. All right. Well.
Damn it. I was trying to think of something funny.
Baby just
Tim Allen.
Cut it in.
Yeah.
Not Tim Allen.
You don't see Tim the Toolman Taylor when you close your eyes. I heard that on Tim Allen's show, Last Man Standing, now in its 19th year.
Oh my God.
No, not really, but its 8th year. That it has a crossover episode with Home Improvement where he meets his character from the Tim Allen multiverse.
I like that.
Anyway, that's our show, folks.
Oh.
Good night.
Oh. Like us, subscribe us.
I don't care if you do or not.
I don't either. You know what? Just, Thanks for the listen.
Live your life.
Yeah, you owe us nothing.
Be kind to chicken ladies and all animals, but especially the smart ones. But also
because they
not
can
the
tell
smart
on
ones.
you. Okay, love you. Bye.
Yeah.
3, 4. Everybody, love Mary.